David Awesome 4569 asks, "You're testing basic Warcraft 3 abilities that has been in the game since the start?"
No, you wouldn't dare.
No. Now see here, viewer. I do not know if you are trolling or if you are a passerby who does not get what I am doing. But please, allow me to give you a taste of my power, to let you understand to look beyond what you see. First, we shall go to the code for Divine Shield. Here you can see it applies the invulnerability buff to the casting unit. Instead, we copy this code and apply the buff to all nearby units around the caster. Pardon me while I spend the 30 seconds it takes to update this buff application to be wrapped in a call to pick all nearby units. Of course, I also changed the unit to whom the buff is applied from caster to instead be the enumerated unit. Done. With no further code change, the code works instantly in-game. Can you imagine what kind of worthless trash a world editor user would put together to achieve this same thing? Maybe they could use Tornado Slow Aura to add a buff to units in the area. Comedy. What it means to be able to truly modify the game doesn't end here. Suppose I wanted to go to Devotion Aura and make it do something different to every unit affected by the aura. Here, if I click to open up the buff class, let's make units affected by the aura invulnerable by adding code right here to functions for when the aura buff is gained or lost. Immediately, if I compile and run this, Devotion Aura is now more of an invincibility aura. Every unit in the area has become invulnerable, and we could have applied any other effect we wanted from the buff. But maybe you're not sold yet. Maybe you still think that using World Editor to make your abilities is not insanely inefficient. Let me take another step. Here, I will copy the code to apply the Thunderclap buff and paste it into Stormbolt. That way, when we throw a Stormbolt at an enemy unit, it will become slowed rather than stunned. I take a creative liberty here to save myself 2 or 3 minutes by directly hardwiring the percentage of slow and which buff ID to show into Stormbolt, rather than continuing to let it read from the ability editor settings of the map editor to decide which parameters to use. But does that even count as cheating? If you were building something to play with your friends, you probably would be okay with doing it this way anyway. As a last step, I delete the code to add the stun buff so that only the slowed buff is added. That way, we do not both stun and slow the unit or something. Hey, look! On my first time testing the map, I can immediately slow an enemy instead of stunning them with a Stormbolt. What a concept! Let's do something even more ridiculous. Here, let's copy the avatar buff and make Thunderclap apply the avatar buff to everything in its area instead of slowing them. I would expect this to even show the little avatar timer bar for those units. Rather than enemies, I delete the not sign so that this spell will affect allies. Again, I do have to change the variable reference caster to instead be enum-unit, but that's a hilariously small price to pay compared to trying to deal with Blizzard's editor on Blizzard's engine. I'm also going to hard code the ability to apply 500 life, 20 damage, and 3 defense, although if you wanted to spend a little extra time, outside the scope of this video, of course, it is possible to add those parameters as data fields for Thunderclap in the ability editor. Look at this. I did not even stop to think about it. But the buff code we copied that uses the member variable duration of the current ability ended up making this avatar effect only last a few seconds because it uses the duration of the Thunderclap. That's kind of funny to see the bar ticking so fast. Here's another funny idea. Let's go in here and edit Holy Light so that it damages enemy Taurens instead of enemy undeads. Should be as easy as replacing the target classification, although it does appear to have undead specified in 2 places in the code for me to update. Maybe an ideal design someday would make sure to only have that in 1 place. The Tauren classification blocked me from healing my Tauren chieftain. Funny how easy that was to update.
People, it shall be done.
The chieftain and the warden stopped fighting when I got close because devotion aura is still making units invulnerable, which is kind of funny. As one last example, suppose that I edit the warden's blink skill so that it is a target unit-based skill instead of a target point-based skill. By changing the base class, the way it functions should update almost instantly. All I need to do is go into the targeting checks and make sure that requires the target to be a unit. If the target is not a unit, I can call up some existing error message about how we must target a unit. Then we can do something fun, like making the target unit teleport to the position of the caster too, so that it's almost like a location swap between the two units. For now, I'm just literally going to call the function on the target unit to set its position to the caster X and caster Y variables that already happen to exist in this code. Imagine being able to go to a base Warcraft 3 ability and modify what kind it is, such as whether it targets a unit or whether it targets a point or whatever. Wouldn't that be nice? Maybe for you, everything you just saw is a dream. Surely a trick of the video editing, right? A video of that which cannot be. And yet it is. This entire recording session took 9 minutes in the original uncut video. I edited the code and then I played the game once. What we have seen here were clips of the code editing and clips of the one gameplay session that followed it. Everything worked the first time. Everything was simple. Although I reordered the clips of the spell casts in time with the editing of that ability's particular code, it was really like this. And so you see that which I have dreamed of. The world of Rotera's dream, where we might be able to actually mod Warcraft 3 in some reasonable amount of time. The vision for what I might have wished Reforged Map Editor might have been like, in a better timeline. The journey that I have worked on for 3 years to rewrite an emulation of the idea of Warcraft 3 on the libGDX game engine instead of Frozen Throne or Reforged. I don't know how far I will get. I don't know if I will succeed in your eyes. I don't know if I will ever be able to teach you how to do what I am doing, or make it distributable into a form that would scale to many users making custom maps. But I hope that when we look at it, it may add some credibility to the vision of what I wish that I had had all along on Warcraft 3. Reforged.